Hey folks, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder. Guys, I do have to apologise. I broke a promise to you guys. Now, last year, I went through this whole sci-fi theme on the channel. I was reviewing all of the most popular sci-fi shows, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, and our most popular review on this channel, maybe not the most popular, but one of the most respected reviews I ever did, the Babylon 5 review. Babylon 5 is awesome, guys. Seriously, check out the review, check out the show. But there's one franchise that I missed out. I never got around to, and now we're going to speak about it. So I'm going to hit the chevron, make those connections, and we're going to talk about Stargate.
Tyro Media.
Whoa! That wormhole sequence is still kind of cool. Let's talk about the Stargate franchise. The Stargate franchise is a sci-fi military series franchise that ran from, what, 1995 all the way to 2009, I believe. It's on the screen. And it all started off with this first movie, Stargate. Stargate was a movie that, it was one of the biggest budget sci-fi movies out of the time. It was very popular and it's aged decently. Not greatly, but decently. It's still a good sci-fi flick, and you know, it's well known for that whole portal sequence I showed in the intro as well. And it's a lot of fun. The movie on its own, it's just like a watchable now, I would say, but it's enjoyable and it's still memorable to a lot of people. The thing about Stargate is, and the thing that makes it very special, it's one of the most successful franchises for making the transition from movie to TV. It done it very, very well, and Stargate SG-1 was the first series that was a direct sequel from the movie that didn't have the same actors but kept the same characters and grew and expanded upon the universe and the ideals of the movie. Stargate SG-1, honestly guys, it's very, very special. Honestly, it's a masterful sci-fi show. And the thing that makes Stargate different from the rest, when we look at Star Trek and Babylon 5 and Battlestar Galactica, those are set in a futuristic time. Those are set in a time of starships and intergalactic travel. Stargate is grounded in present time. I think that's the hook to Stargate. It's in present time. And it's got to do with the military taking over this artifact that helps interdimensional space travel, which is the Stargate. Now, the thing that makes Stargate so good is that it's grounded. It's a show where the sci-fi is grounded. It's as grounded as much as possible. This is science fiction as grounded as much as possible because the military take control of the Stargate, take control of the whole aspect of the politics and everything. And if this was to happen in real life, anything like this, any kind of alien interaction, it would go through the military. And the reason why I think it's so realistic is because this is how I think it would play through. When I was young and I used to see Stargate on the TV, it looked like the most boringest thing ever. Because all I would see are soldiers running around, shooting, you know, politics, talking, board meetings. It looked so boring. And I was about 12-ish when it came on television. All I saw was military uniforms, shoot-ups, and talking. And I just thought, this is so boring. Stargate is another one of those shows you appreciate later in life. And you know what, maybe in this day and age, it works better nowadays because we're used to seeing it. We've got so many computer games that are first-person shooters that have that, you know, Dead Space or, you know, any Call of Duty. Any of those shows kind of relate to Stargate. And I like to think Stargate, well, I'm not going to say Stargate had a hand in making us popular, but I will say, if you like, I think it's going to be easier to digest now. Talking about SG-1 itself, Stargate SG-1 ran for 10 seasons. The characters are just Richard Dean Anderson or MacGyver. He's such a great lead. He's so funny, he's so sarcastic, and he has a great odd couple relationship with the architect Daniel Jackson in the show. These two make the show so great. Then you've got the alien black character Tilk, and then you've got Amanda Tapping, who's the female in this team, and she is, well, let me talk about her character for a minute, because she's like the main female lead in the show, and in the show she plays a very robotic, military-driven character. So I like her because she is a badass, but she's very nerdy, very soldiery, and you know, you just strip away the gender with her. And I just think it's cool for like a female to be represented that way, just as a character, not just as a woman or whatever. And she's awesome, and she went on to do much bigger things. But getting back to the main cast on the whole, the cast is great. They work off each other so well. And this show has a big underlining sense of comedy in its very dramatic theme. It's a very serious show, but these guys play off a lot of subtle comedy, which works really, really well. The setting in a whole, set on what the Stargate is held up in a mountain, and again, it's believable. In my age now, I like the politics. Let's talk about the cinematography, the action and stuff. It's shot really well. I think the first season, I believe HBO did the very first season, and then it went on to a cheaper network. So the first season, they put a lot more budget into it than the rest. Stargate SG-1 has a great story. It has great episodic episodes. I mean, like I said, it's just so much more realistic than all these other futuristic sci-fi shows. It's current, but it has really great sci-fi episodes. I loved it, but what I will say is the first 8 seasons, the 8 seasons are the core of SG-1. And it tells one long-running theme with the Goa'uld. The Goa'uld are the antagonists of the show. They are one of the most despicable, best villains I've ever seen on television. They are excellent from the movie to the TV show. To see how they've just enslaved the whole universe and galaxy, it sounds ridiculous, but this honestly, Stargate SG-1 is great. The first 8 seasons are great. And yeah, at the end of season 8, everything ended. But the show was on such a high, I believe the network was like, no, keep it going, keep it going. So they kind of, Richard Dean Anderson left, and then they brought in 2 characters from Farscape, I believe. And a lot of fans complained that why they're replacing the lead, and then they came up with this new antagonist called the Ori, I believe. These ultra-religious, god-type aliens that had these superpowers. It took a while for me to get used to it, but those 2 seasons were okay. They didn't take the show, but it just felt unnecessary, and they couldn't even finish the season. Though the series got cancelled, kind of, and then they had to finish off in a movie. We'll talk about the movies later, but a movie had to finish off the series. But we need to talk about the other series. SG-1 is going to take up the bulk of this review because it's the biggest of the series. But SG-1 is a great sci-fi, classic sci-fi. It's in my top 3 of sci-fi shows of all time, top 10 TV shows of all time. Stargate SG-1 is in my Hall of Fame. It's fantastic. You appreciate it more as an adult, I would say. It can look boring at first, but it's just masterful, grounded sci-fi. So, guys, I do want to hear your thoughts on SG-1. Leave a comment down below. But let's move on. So, let's rewind a bit, because I think around season 6 of Stargate, they released their first spin-off, which was Stargate Atlantis. Now, Stargate Atlantis had to do with, they found the lost city of Atlantis, which is fabled and rumored and stuff like that. And they sent a team over there to deal with that. Stargate Atlantis ran for 5 seasons. It started off very well. The first 2 seasons started off very, very well. It was a lot more light-hearted than SG-1 in my opinion. A lot less army-ish because it had to do with scientists. It was a lot more fun. This guy was so funny. He was so funny. Obviously, Jason Momoa came out of Stargate Atlantis as well. I think that was his biggest break. And the antagonists, the Wraith, were these terrible vampire-ish race that were a good second to the Goa'uld. But honestly, after a while, Atlantis got really ridiculous. And they gave it a conclusive ending, but it just felt rushed. You know, and it lost a lot of its lackluster. Even though I like the antagonist, that guy that came from Stargate Star Trek Enterprise. He even came as like the major antagonist at the end. But Stargate Atlantis was a disappointment at the end. And you know, it started off strong and just gradually degraded, but it's still an okay show. I would give it a low solid B. Nah, actually more of a okay. Yeah, more of a okay. So next up, in between Stargate Atlantis, there was this animated show released in 2002 called Stargate Infinity, I believe. Yeah, not much to say on this, guys. It's not canon. It's not got anything to do with the core story. It was made in 2002, I might have said that already. It's just kind of forgettable. And the story didn't end. It's only ran for one season. I wouldn't really check it out, guys. Sorry, this is going to get a pass completely. Not feeling that at all. So moving on to the last live action franchise, which is again canon. And I should say this, all the live action stuff are all related. Another thing about Stargate, even the spin-offs, they're all contained in the same universe. So, you know, there's so much interchange with them. And the last season, the last show, the last spin-off was Stargate Universe. Stargate Universe, I felt like they wanted to make a more gritty show. They wanted to bring in the element of Lost in Space or Star Trek Voyager, mix it with a bit of Lost and make it a bit more human. Now, if I can even remember the plot the plot of Stargate Universe is they find, I think, the 9th chevron to a wider universe. They get stuck on a lot of civilians and a bit of the army gets stuck on this spaceship. And it reminds me of even an anime, Infinite Revias, kind of, but that was with kids. But yeah, this one is the most unliked of the franchise. It grew on me, it really did. And even though it got cancelled, they ended season 2 on a decent ending. I think the show had potential, but I don't know, it felt kind of just a bit messy and a bit all over the place. So I'm gonna give Stargate Universe a low watchable. If you're a fan of the franchise, check it out. But honestly, guys, I'm going to go back and say Stargate SG-1 is what, honestly, is the core. It's so great. And I spent most of the review talking about SG-1 because this is what the Stargate franchise is built upon. You can say it's the movie, but this series is so great on its own. And get into 2 movies that I spoke about briefly. The 2 movies, I think, is the Arc of Truth. That finishes off that all-right storyline that I talked about. At least they wrapped it up, so that movie's But the last Stargate movie, which relates to the TV series, is Stargate Continuum, I believe. I believe Richard Dean Anderson comes back for that one, and it's a great wrap-up to the SG-1 universe. And yeah, SG-1 is the one I recommend. SG-1 has got 2 movies for it, 10 years, 10 seasons. It's just so great overall. The rest of them are okay. Now there's rumours, obviously they're rehashing everything, so it's no surprise they're talking about bringing it back and doing something with Stargate again. I think that's fine because it's a Stargate and they could expand on the existing storyline. Don't go back and rehash SG-1. Don't do Atlantis or Universe. Yeah, just do something new. Just do something brand new. Just don't rehash it. So I don't mind seeing more Stargate because I think it's a very expandable franchise to build upon. TV and movie wise, yeah, I think you can do something with Stargate. It's still got some life in it, I feel. But people, let me know what you think of the Stargate universe, Stargate franchise. Leave a comment down below. I'd like to know what you think, Stargate fans. And if you haven't watched Stargate ever before, check out SG-1. Just SG-1. First 8 seasons is all I'm saying. And people, I've gone on long enough. So people, always, like I said, don't forget to hit that like button if you like the video. I appreciate your thoughts, good or bad. Guys, we're all opinionated. So until the next one, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can get videos of my reviews straight to your YouTube feed without having to keep coming back. And I will say thank you for watching. Until the next video, this is Donald Wonder signing off, saying peace out.